Welcome back to Behind the Veil, a show that provides insight into the world of people and events. I'm your host, Keith Willard. It's nice to see you guys. This week, we're going to be talking about how to find the perfect officiant and what it takes to be an efficient officiant. Get that? Oh, I love the little wordplay there. Anyway, and our guests today are Celia and Andrea, and not only are they amazing officiants, but they're also they're podcasters, and they have their own podcast up in New Jersey called the NJ Wedding Podcast. But before I bring them on, let me bring on my co-host, Marcy Gutenberg, with An Affair to Remember by Marcy.
Hello.
Hi, Marcy.
Hello.
So, I'm excited because, obviously we wanted to do the show about officiants and like what you should be asking and talking about with them. But then to have other podcasters, I mean.
Exactly.
We got
it's funny that you came out with your joke because my husband said before you go on, ask if the officiants are officiant.
See, like a little wordplay there. I know. I thought it was clever. So
it was very clever.
Tell your husband he's clever. I love that.
You guys think alike. It's scary.
Oh, that is scary. All right. Well, let me bring them on. Let's bring on Andrea and Celia. Hey, Andrea and Celia. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Andrea and Celia.
Hi, good to see you. Thank you for having us on.
Oh, we're very excited. So the first thing I wanted to ask you about is each of you talk a little bit about like your business, and then we'll talk about the podcast a little bit. So Andrea, we'll go with you first. Tell us a little bit about you and about the business and how you got into all this.
Sure, thank you. Well, I've been a professional full-time wedding officiant for 14 years now here in New Jersey. I love it. I got into it. It was my sister's idea because she used an officiant. She got married in Arkansas many years before I began doing it. And she really helped set me up. Together, we made the websites and we created ceremonies. Of course, I took a lot of classes and education on it. And I just love it. I'm located by the Jersey Shore. And It's been terrific. It's been amazing, an amazing ride here. I love it.
And how long have you been doing it?
14 years now.
14
and the name of my
years.
the name of my company is For This Joyous Occasion Officiating Services.
Oh, that is a long name.
I know.
Yeah, maybe an acronym.
I thought mine was long.
I know. I was like, maybe an acronym for that. I don't know. That seems, but I love it. I love it. And I love the fact that you love. I mean, that's really at the end of the day, you have to really love what you do because we get into some crazy situations.
Right. Oh, totally love what I do. Totally. It's the best. It's the best to meet the couples, work with them, write their love story, tell their love story. It's a great job.
I love it. Celia, what about you, love? Tell us a little bit about you.
I got into. I'm an escaping caterer, and so I came to this in a different kind of path. I went to seminary in New York, thinking I was going to be a parish minister. And when I actually got into parish ministry, I quickly realized that was really not for me. I like meeting people. I like writing about them. I like talking. Those are really my only skills. That is all I can do. And so I started this business, and it's just fun. You never know what's going to be on the end of the phone when you pick up that phone. Andrea and I, we did a podcast with, I picked up my phone one morning. It's like, hi, my name's Frank. I'm a blacksmith. I'm like, really? Okay. So let's talk about blacksmiths and weddings. How do we get, but it's
right. How do you combine that? Oh my God.
You would be amazed. And
what's the name of your company?
My company is called, it's very creative. It's called Celia Milton Wedding Services.
There you go.
But we have a group, and the group is called NJ Vows Now. And
nice.
I have 4 people in my group, and 5. I consider Andrea part of the group too. We kind of split the state in half, and we really do talk like this. It's like exit 102 and above, that's me, and below, that's her.
I love it. Well, so tell me a little bit about what should couples be asking? Because, obviously being in the event planner side of it, I try not to get involved in between the discussions between the vendor and the client, except where I know where my knowledge base actually fits. And so that way I can guide them. But I've never really I really never knew or know the questions that an officiant originally asks the couple, because usually it's like, how'd you meet? And what, is there a love story? Is there something special between the two of you? I mean, what do you do in order to kind of get them out of their shell, so to speak?
You want to start, Andrea? Go ahead.
Sure. Well, obviously on the first meeting, you find out what exactly they're looking for. Usually when they come to an officiant, they don't have they don't belong to a church, or maybe it's going to be an interfaith ceremony, something like that. So
Right.
you find out what they want. Do they want a religious ceremony? If so, what type? Non-religious? What do they want to include in their ceremony? To get to know them, I have a get to know you questionnaire that they can fill out, and they can fill out as much as they want. They can tell their story, how they met, why they fell in love with each other. Do they want to share an engagement story or some other story about their relationship? So if they want to, they can fill that out. Or we can, we talk about what you want to include in your ceremony. You just talk. Do you want to acknowledge your moms? Do you want to do a unity ceremony? Readings? What type, of ceremony they want? You get the vibe from it. I send them the worksheets, and I have a unique build a ceremony menu that my couples can use along with the get to know you questionnaire. And you get to know them. Some people are like, our dog is going to be in our ceremony. Well, oh, that's great. I have a really funny dog reading we can include. Or maybe I was just dealing with a couple that met in the city. New York City is a special place for them. I have a beautiful reading about love in New York City. So, you find out about them. Been doing this for 14 years. So I have a big file of a lot of beautiful readings, prayers, and poems I can suggest to them, and really find out what they want to include in it and what type of vibe they want for their ceremony. And then I'll put together a first draft and send it to them. And they'll look it over and tell me what changes they want to make. And we basically go back and forth until they say, this is perfect, exactly what we wanted,
Love that.
But they should ask the questions, when do you arrive to the ceremony? It's important that the officiant, a professional officiant, can guide them through the ceremony, what they're supposed to do at certain times, easily guide them through it. We arrive early. We touch base with all the vendors because we become a team, when we get there, the coordinator, the musicians, all of that. So.
Well, and is there a perfect time limit for a ceremony? Because I get asked this question constantly. Either they want a really quick ceremony, or they don't want it to be too long. They don't want to bore their guests. Is there in your experience, because 12 years, I mean, that's a long time to be doing ceremonies. Is there a sweet spot? Yeah.
Well, I would say, what do you think, Celia? I say 20 minutes is a sweet spot. They're usually around 17 minutes, right? All venues. 18. Venues give you 30 minutes to do it, but you never use that whole 30-minute time, right? 17, 18.
Yeah, 18 minutes. The thing is that people will call me, and I have a kind of different approach to it, but, so we want something short and sweet. It's like, well, what do you think of as short? 30 minutes. It's like, gosh, have you been going to wedding masses your whole life that you think 18 minutes is short? 30 minutes is short? I tell them, it's like, go into your living room, take off your comfortable shoes and put on the most uncomfortable shoes and clothing that you have, and stand there and stare at each other for 18 minutes. It's going to feel like an eternity.
It does.
But still, and I'll tell you, when I say 18 minutes, I can see the smiles on their faces, even if they're not on video. It's like, 18 minutes, that's great. It's like so short. But, by the time we get everybody up the aisle and, maybe make an unplugged announcement and get them back down the aisle, we're going to be just under 30 minutes, which is perfect for the venues that we work. They always think it's going to be 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Shorter than that, I mean, if you're going to invite people to see a ceremony, they need to be able to see something. It can't be, do you want to get married? Yes, fine, great, say these vows, goodbye. I mean, it's very unfulfilling for everybody.
Substance to it.
And longer than that, if you can't get it done in 17 or 18 minutes, you are just not a good enough writer. I'm sorry. It's just like too much for people. You're just filler.
how have things changed in 12 years? I mean, obviously weddings have changed pretty dramatically here in South Florida over the last decade. I mean, things that people are wanting now versus what they wanted then are totally different. Is it the same thing when it comes to ceremonies? Have people changed what they wanted before versus what they want now?
For me, I think COVID is the pandemic was a big marker for smaller ceremonies. You know, it allowed people to have more micro weddings, like 60 to 100 people, even instead of the 200 people weddings, or even smaller. So it's allowed them to do that. It's given them permission to have smaller gatherings than the giant ones. And I mean, I can only think of trends right now, like not as big bridal parties as you used to see, that type of thing. What do you think, Celia?
I feel like, and it's probably partly a product of our marketing, we've always gathered the clients who want to do what they want to do.
Right.
And, of course, and it's like, you have to think about that front row too. It's like, we can't just go wild with this and have your mothers in the front row, like ringing their pearls and going nuts. Because it's, once you have an officiant, I wish I could remember what his name was because he's brilliant. He's from Australia. If you're going to elope, the wedding is all about you. Once you invite 2 guests, it's not all about you anymore. And everybody has an expectation of what's going to happen. And it needs to be something that's significant. Doesn't mean it has to be boring. It means that it has to be something. And that personalization, I think, is, those people in that audience, theoretically, they love the couple that's there. They're excited that they're going to get married. And even more so now when some of these couples that I'm still cleaning up some weddings from COVID. I've got people who got engaged 4 years ago and just said, well, to heck with it. We're just going to wait until we know we can do exactly what we want. But those, there's a sense of anticipation at this point in time where there might not have been before. And, they're looking forward to this. And plus they don't know us. It's like, I walk up the aisle, it's like, who's that? And it's like, I have 5 seconds to prove myself. So, I think the whole personalization thing, I think, is very key. It always has been with our couples, but I think even more so now when they've been given that license to personalize things. That the dog is like a perfect example. Most of my couples have dogs in their weddings. It's not like how many people are in the bridal party. Kids,
with dogs. Oh my God, they just changed the whole dynamic of everything.
We recommend dog handlers very highly. I have to say, it's not just like, oh, bring the dog, it'll be fine. It's like,
no. Oh my God. So
hire a handler. Yeah.
Of course, I've got to ask the question. Do you still ask? Is there anybody here that objects to this wedding?
We never have.
No, I only did once as a joke. The groom asked me to. He had his guys ready to do something. It was funny. It was like it was very Jersey Italian. We were even in an Italian restaurant, and he had them ready to say something. So it was like a joke that he wanted. But other than that, no.
So that's out, right? That's no longer. Nobody does that anymore.
No.
I don't even know anybody who's ever done that, to tell you the truth. Because really, honestly, what would you do if somebody did, and why do we care?
Right.
He's going to reject why would you invite them?
Right.
Exactly.
That's awesome. I love that. I love that. Oh my God. So, I had a wedding, and Marcy probably already knows this story. I had a wedding once where the groom decided to tell everybody the night before at the rehearsal dinner that the wedding was off. Right. And then long story short, it went to court, and the judge actually said that it's not intent until both parties actually step on the aisle. So he got off scot-free, and the family had to pay for everything. Have you ever had a runner? Anybody ever run?
I haven't had a runner. I have had, so here the law is the minute that we pronounce you, I now pronounce you husband and wife. I don't care if it's on a Saturday, you're married. Then we file, it's our responsibility to file the legal paperwork so that the state can record their marriage and they can get their marriage certificate. Right. I did have several years ago, a bride call me, it was a Saturday night wedding, and a Sunday she called me and said, don't file that. Don't file that. I don't know what happened at the wedding, but I said, it's too late. I drop it in the mailbox or whatever. I just said, you call the clerk and talk to her about it, but it is too late. I legally have to file it, but that's probably the closest I've come. But
That's
it's
so fun.
she too late to run. Yeah. Have you ever had anything like that, Celia?
When did she decide that? Like when during
I
that
know.
second?
Like
this is a
did
bad
she
idea.
wake up after she'd been drinking? Because usually
What
it's the
happened at that
opposite.
reception?
Well,
I
I was going to
know.
say what happened at the reception was probably
Exactly.
Like fried calamari that bad that you're just gonna
I
bail?
know that she was like,
Yeah.
I'm out. This wedding's out. Oh my God.
Well, I think the closest we've had to that is a woman who called. It was my partner Michael was doing an elopement the next day on a Saturday, I think, and at Saturday morning, when the phone rings at Saturday morning at 6 o'clock in the morning, it is never good news. Okay, if we're calling somebody that early, it's not good news. Thankfully, we've never had to do that. And on the other end of the phone is a woman who was sobbing. It's like, I woke up and he took everything and left. He cleaned out the apartment and he's gone. I'm like, dude. And my take on that is like, you have dodged a bullet, really.
Right?
It's not great right now, but
100%.
that was years ago. It's like now it's a great story. Then it was horrible, but
Right.
um,
Oh yeah, it's always horrible at the time, and years
there are
past.
better
things
ways
change.
to like break up with somebody than at the altar. I mean, you have to
Oh,
be a
come
very cool
It
person.
did them a favor.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, it's always definitely.
I had a couple break up at their tasting via text. So
Oh,
you
that is
know,
cool.
Kidding?
I've seen it all. I've seen it
That's
all.
so weird.
But you know, so when you're and I want to go back to the time frame, because here in South Florida they usually put an hour. Like if you're at a hotel or a venue, they usually put hour for ceremony, hour for cocktail, 4 or 5 hours for reception, so to speak. And we never use the hour ever. You know, it's usually 35 minutes, 40 minutes. That includes getting guests in and getting guests out type of thing.
Yeah, that's
right. So are things different in New Jersey, or are you, when you say the time of the ceremony is actually 18 minutes, meaning from the moment that the bride is standing in front of you to the moment that the bride and groom leave, or the bride and bride leave, or the groom and groom leave? So, is it just that 18 minutes, or does that also include when people are walking in and when and guests are walking out?
Well, most of our, and I think probably in your area too, most of our venues advise their couples to put a half an hour ahead of time on their invitation. Like we're inviting at 5, we're going to start at 5:30. Traffic in New Jersey is legendary, and on Friday, people who are not from here are like, oh God, there was so much traffic. It's like it's Friday, of course there's traffic. There's like traffic all the time here. But it gives people a chance to come in. They usually do some kind of like light hospitality, like sparkling water or champagne or something. So
Right.
they tell them 5. We start at 5:30. People will schmooze with people they haven't seen for a while. It's really just kind of like a mini cocktail hour first. But the ceremony is really the pivot point. If the ceremony is late, then everything else gets messed up. So we're, very big fans of starting on time. Not because we don't want to hang around, but it's just better for everybody. Photographers, the people that, I don't know, probably you feel the same way, Andrea. The people that I recommend are the people who are absolutely psycho about keeping on time. Not because we don't want to be there working, but we want everything to be smooth, and it can't be if the ceremony's late.
Yeah, I get it. Marcy?
right.
When you're talking with a couple in the very beginning, how important is it for them to either speak to or meet with their officiant, and how long in advance do they talk with them?
Ooh, good question.
I find it important to meet with the couple. But I used to meet people in person all the time at my home office. And again, things changed. I would do the occasional Zoom meeting, but with the pandemic, Zoom became even more popular. It used to be Skype. What happened to Skype? Now it's Zoom. they really lost out there. But now people are so used to it that they're happy to do video chat. So
Right.
I always start with a video chat with them and meet me. And before they book me, we talk, and then they book me, and then I send them the links and the worksheet, and we talk about what they want, and I might send them an example, and then quite often we will meet again, whether it's a video or a phone conference, just to firm up the details and make sure everybody's comfortable with things. I have to admit, I don't get too many in person. If they want to meet in person, I'm happy to,
Right.
but most people, what do you, Celia, are you mostly
I don't
Zoom
think I've met
too?
anybody in person in 10 years, honestly. You know what? They're just, everybody's busy. And,
Yes.
you know, we're so used to Zoom. We were doing we had the ability to do actual weddings on Zoom
Zoom
for a while
weddings.
there, which was like, it was weird, but it was cool. It's like you get on a call, like you get off the call and you're married. It's like, wow. And, you know, and people who had been guests with like 300 tiles and people with their cats are eating their breakfast. It's like, we can see you.
It was,
Yeah. I find that
it was,
my people are kind of zoomed out. It's like, you know, do you want to do a Zoom? Do you want to just talk on the phone? They're like, please, just let's talk on the phone. That's like, fine. It's like, okay, great. But, you know, when I get an inquiry from somebody, unless, you know, maybe they've seen me and called me anyway, you know, if they've seen me do somebody's wedding, you know, they're kind of used to my style and, you know, how that's going to be. But I send them videos of, you know, in fact, we had on our podcast this morning, we interviewed one of the videographers that I work with quite a bit. He's a very cute name, Cinema Roll. He's great.
Aw.
I know, he's adorable, right? And but they do something that I've never seen any other video company do this. In addition to the big with the drones and the dancing people and all that,
Right.
they do a highlight reel and a trailer reel, and he does a specific 20 to 25-minute recording of the ceremony. There's
Aw.
no cuts to people having a drink, saying hello to Aunt Mary. It's just like walking up the aisle. Here we are. Here's the couple having fun with their audience. And by the time they don't need to talk to me on Zoom. You know,
Right.
I've seen
you know, I mean, I'm happy to do it, but most of them are just happy with the phone call. We're zoomed out. We've been working remotely for 4 years, and we're like tired of zooming. You know, just like done.
That's
do
funny.
you find that like when you set a client appointment, do you find that your couples are showing up as a couple, or do you find that they are sometimes showing up without the other person present?
That's funny because a lot of times it is. Most of the time it is couples, but I don't know. There's a fair amount where it's just if it's a bride and groom, it'll be the bride. You know, right?
Right.
Somebody's
Always.
tasked with finding. Somebody has to find us. It's like, okay, I'm going to do the music. You go find the officiant, because I don't think we're as fun as a cake tasting, frankly. I mean, I don't take it personally. It's like, who's going to do that? You know, I'm going to do everything else, and the other person is going to find the officiant, because that's going to be terrible. Yeah, I don't take it personally. But mostly,
so it's not really a matter of like if somebody says, well, you know, I'm not the decision maker. That's no bearing on whether or not they talk with you in advance or not.
Yeah. I think for people who know that somebody is not as interested in this part, face it, it doesn't sound like fun, does it? It's not fun until we're up there and it's fun. So, you know, it's like, you go pick the officiant. Yeah, they don't look crazy and nuts, so fine. Just like, let's get a contract together. You know, they're going to show up. They've done this for years. Nobody's sued them. They're fine.
Nobody sued them. I love that. So I'm going to talk about the big B word, budget. So, you know, when you're talking about a good officiant, I'm not talking about, you know, fly by night. Oh, I you know, I got I got my stamp, you know. But you know, what should couples be thinking about budget wise for a good officiant, like a range? Is it 400 to 700? Is it 600 to 1,000? Like, typically, where would most officiants land in between?
Well, New Jersey here is probably more expensive, right, than other places. You know, Jersey is an expensive place to live, but it depends on what package you want, what type of, if you're having a little micro wedding versus a bigger wedding, I think that can range from like 500 and up. And also depending on how far you have to travel, probably 500 on the low end and then up. For me, you know, Celia is up north and I'm down south. It doesn't make sense for me. I'll travel if you want me to,
right?
But for me to charge to travel 2 hours north and then 2 hours back home, 4 hours traveling, that's the price of travel is going to be. I just send them to Celia if that's the case.
Right.
What would you say the range would be, Celia? I mean,
you know what? We simplified we used to have like a lot of packages, like a lot of other people in the industry do. It's like, and they're all named after metals for some reason. I have to get the silver package and the lead package and the gold package.
I never understood that.
Like,
yeah.
No, we're just gold people. We're not platinum people. It's like a metal shaming. We just decided to dispense with all of that because I feel like people who come to us have a desire to have something a little bit different.
Yep.
And so it's like, oh, you can, you're going to talk to us 8 times at this package and 10 times in that. They don't care. It's like,
Yeah, I
this
know.
is what you want. You want to have a great ceremony that's beautifully written, beautifully presented, legal, and you don't want to be pestered every month with more homework. So we have a elopement package. We have a tiny, weeny, micro, because it's hard to write a highly personalized ceremony if you have 15 guests, because they know you pretty well. So
Right.
we have small, medium, large. I name mine after cars. We have the smart car. We have,
I love it.
car, we have a smart car that's like for 2 people, and we started a joke that we were going to price all our weddings by the car full. So, as many people as you can put in a car, you can have them at your elopement, because they're all going to arrive together. But,
Oh my God.
just simpler. I feel like, everything we're hearing, including from Tom, from the Not Wedding Wire,
Right.
is that we're dealing with a large portion of our couples, not all of them, that are Gen Z. And
Right.
it's like, this is the result that I want. How we get there, I'd like it to be as simple as possible.
Right.
It's like, if you want to talk to me every day, you can talk to me every day. Long after your family doesn't want to hear about your place cards anymore, you can call me. I'll always talk about it. But, I think they're kind of, everything is sort of instant in the rest of their lives. And,
Yes.
it's like, let's talk. Does it sound good? Fabulous. We'll write the script and there you are. So our prices for our biggest weddings they run from $732 to $786, because
Makes sense.
we like to be very specific. And
The 786. I love that. It's not like 780. Nope, 786. I'm surprised it's like not 786.36, but I would probably do that. Well, how important is personality when you guys connect with the couple? Because this is a very personal moment in their life, and so is that an important piece? And have you gotten along with like one but not the other, and then like, okay, how do I do that? The bride really loved me, but her partner was like, or are they even truthful about that, or do they just go, what, it's 18 minutes?
It's interesting. Yeah, I mean, it is you're right. It's very personal. They're going to tell us things. People tell me things that I can't put that in your ceremony. Oh.
Right? I mean, oh my God, the stuff that they tell us is crazy.
Like, that is not going in. That bit about the cockroach, that is not going in there. I feel like if they come away, there are definitely different personalities that are going to gel with both of us in a different way. But I think that if the way that our marketing is, and the reviews that we have, I think everything sort of reinforces to the people that call us the way that we're going to be.
Right.
If you're looking for something kind of very traditional and not overly religious, like it's too religious to be, but if that's what your focus is, we're probably not. I'm capable of doing that, and so is Andrea. But we're probably not the best fit for you.
Right.
It's you need somebody who's kind of on your wavelength. When you say I want an opening reading from Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones, we're not going to be like, oh God, that's a horrible.
I'm there. Yeah, I'm totally there with that. Come on.
Yeah.
I
love a good theme ceremony, right?
You shall not pass. Oh yes, I love it. Oh my God, that's
no costumes though. There's a heavy surcharge for wearing a costume. At least at my business.
I actually had Darth Vader marry a couple once. So
Really?
I mean, yes, I did. I had Darth Vader marry a couple once. That was weird. And then I've actually had a ceremony where they included everything. They included the candle lighting, the sand ceremony, the jumping of the broom, the passing of the cup. I mean, the smoke. I mean, it was unbelievable. But there must have been 12 different things in the ceremony. Yeah. And I have to tell you, the officiant did an amazing job, because I thought, oh God, we're going to be here for 45 minutes just listening to these people chant. And she got through it, and people loved it because they got to see all these different kinds of marriage.
I consider it a challenge. We can do it. Yeah.
Like she was like,
I can get this.
I will get this, and I will get this under 20 minutes. All right.
We've been doing a series on ritual elements.
Yeah.
It always sounds like we're going to be headed chicken or something. It's like, no, it's nothing like that. But now being in Florida, probably sand makes a lot more sense. And for Andrea being on the Jersey Shore, I am in the mountains of North Jersey. If I never see another grain of sand again, I will be a happy camper. Because it doesn't, for most people, it doesn't say anything about their specific, if somebody's from California on the beach and somebody's from the Jersey Shore, well, that makes perfect sense. For
Right.
most people, it's just kind of like a fallback thing because they've maybe never seen or thought about anything else.
Right.
But we've both written ceremonies. I have a coffee blending ceremony. We have a horseshoe ceremony that we talk about.
Really?
Multitude, because I'm the worst influence in the world, a multitude of tequila sharings and beer sharings that.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, you just hit a nerve with Keith.
I'm telling you.
Excellent.
Tequila. Boom. I'm there. I'm so with you.
It's a vehicle. It's a vehicle for telling their story in a way that's maybe a little bit more colloquial than they both love beer. Okay, fantastic. Well, they met in a crowded bar in Hoboken, like there's any other kind. They were the
Right.
only two people drinking Blue Moons. So he sent her one, and that was like, of course we have to use Blue Moon. And well, of course, it's coming, right? This is a
Right.
lot that happens
I
once
love
in
it.
Blue Moon. Okay, had to use it.
I love it. No, this is great. And then, so of course, now I have to ask, like, how did this evolve into a podcast? I mean,
We are still asking ourselves that.
I mean,
Come together.
you're officiants,
You ask me, I'm there.
right? You're hanging out one day and you're like, you know what? Let's do a podcast.
I have a
Okay.
great idea.
Yeah.
I had been thinking about it for a while and actually started it, but wasn't on a regular schedule with it and didn't quite know where to go with it. It was just a blanket wedding podcast. And then and one person didn't seem enough. You have to have that person to have a conversation with.
Yeah.
And so I figured the target audience for what I was looking for would be New Jersey,
Right.
the brides and grooms in New Jersey. So I came up with New Jersey. I changed it from This Joyous Podcast to New Jersey Wedding Podcast. And then I said, I got to ask Celia. Celia, I've known her for years. She's an excellent officiant. We're on different sides of the state. Yet we know the same other vendors,
Right.
and she's funny. It's going to be a great conversation. We'll have a conversation about ceremonies. We'll talk about this element of it and that element. We'll review venues and vendors, and we'll get guests. And I asked her, and she was like, "Yeah, I'm in." And she's gotten so many of our guests. In fact, Marcy, I think she
Yeah.
knew Marcy. She's the one that
Marcy.
knew Marcy and said, "I've got somebody great to have on our podcast." That's how I met Marcy from an affair to remember. And so we've just been having a good time with it, and you know how it evolves from the beginning, what you think you're going to be doing. And then it's like, oh, this is great. And look what venue we have on now and what vendors. And it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun. And now we've started asking brides and grooms to come on and do you have any advice and to talk about that? That'll be like our
that's
next
a
step. But
really
That's a
Yeah.
great
Yeah.
idea.
yeah, when ones that we've worked with, right?
Right.
They send you a card, say thank you, or give you that review, and you say, I'm glad you were happy. Would you like to be on the podcast and talk about your experience with your venue, your vendors, and any advice because they've put so much into planning
Right.
and stuff. But it's also great for me. I've had fun connecting with meeting new vendors, but connecting with the vendors you work with all the time that you don't get a chance to sit and talk with, like have the conversations with. And that's kind of what we do because we see them at the wedding and we'll say, hey, like the coordinator, how you doing? Great to work with you again. What do we have going on here and stuff? But this gives us the opportunity to really talk to them, fly on the wall type thing. That's at least what it's been for me. What do you think, Celia?
No, I think it's been because it's not really a salesy conversation.
No, never. Never.
Some of the venues that we've had, which people seem to really love their venues. It's like this is the thing I like about working at this venue. Being like the coordinator or one of the people that's the banquet manager or whatever. It's like and the things that they come up with are so useful, and they might not come up in a regular conversation. I'm remembering Andrea. I'm remembering Mike. It's like we have the whole place is that your DJ can come in with a laptop and a plug. They don't need anything, and you can have sound anywhere. And it's like, it's not a glamorous thing to talk about, but it's, it makes a difference if you're standing in a field with no sound. I can tell you that.
Oh yeah. Well, and did it open your eyes as far as like what other people are dealing with? Because I know as planners, we're dealing with people literally from 7 a.m. until 2 a.m. I mean, it's a long day, and many times DJs don't have any idea of like what the planner's having to go through, or the officiant, or the venue. Like each of us have our own little like view, and so doing the podcast, I know for us, it's been a real big eye opener.
Yes.
Has it done the same thing for you guys?
Yes.
I
think so. Yeah.
It's fun to talk to these people. I mean, we started out with people that we mostly know, and it's kind of wedding showcase season. I don't think you really do a lot of them either, but the only ones I really do are places where we're preferred clergy, because we kind of have to, and we like the place, and it's it's a symbiotic kind of relationship. But the first people that I reached out to were people that I see them at the showcases twice a year, and we don't really have time to talk because we've got 300 brides, and they all have questions, and grooms, and it's like a little crazy. So it's really been kind of fun to get to know these people in a little bit more relaxed way. So that, when people, I always ask people, do you have your videographer? Do you have your florist? It's like, well, knowing these people better, I can tell you that you would like this DJ for your crowd, or my perception of your crowd, than this person who's going to be way more traditional, and that's probably not going to work for you. So it's been useful for us, for me at least, to be able to refer appropriate people, which I always love to do. I love to see people that I know at our weddings.
Well, I will say the one thing that people always ask me is like, well, do you get business from it? I'm like, no, are you kidding? It's a podcast. It goes out everywhere. We don't, usually the guests get more business than we do. I mean, that was the whole point of it, is that, it was meant for information. So, you do this because it's joyous and fun and interesting, and you'd like, uplifting our community as a whole, so I'm assuming it didn't start off as a marketing tool for you guys. It was more of like, I want to learn more about other people.
Exactly. That's what it was for us, kind of, learning more, connecting with the other vendors, learning from them, and also building a network with them. I do enjoy building a network with them. And
So how do people listen to your podcast? Like, where do they go? Because I know that was on the YouTube channels, and people watching us on Facebook and stuff are watching the little ticker tape on the below. But the people listening to the podcast, how would they get a hold of you, or how would they listen in?
Well, our podcast is audio only. We don't do video, at least not yet. So it's an audio only podcast, and our host is Spotify, but it plays on all platforms. So you can go to Apple Podcasts, Castbox, any of them, iHeartRadio, and just look up New Jersey Wedding Podcast. New Jersey is spelled out, New Jersey Wedding Podcast, and start listening.
I love it. And for people that don't know how to spell New Jersey.
Well, instead of NJ, New Jersey spelled out.
I was just about to say, it's spelled out, everybody. New Jersey Wedding Podcast. I love it. And then if people wanted to like reach out to you independently, Andrea, how do they reach out to you?
Well, my website is For This Joyous Occasion, officiating services.
Not the letter 4, not the number 4, but actually spelled out FOUR or FOR.
Yeah, FOR.
Kidding.
For This Joyous Occasion, officiating services. So I have a website, and then of course my Instagram is Wedding Officiant, but you can always email me at Andrea@thisjoyous.com.
Thisjoyous.com. Oh, that's so much easier. And Celia, what about you, love? How do people get in touch with you?
NJVowsNow.com. Andrea's like, she does she does the heavy lifting tech wise. I'm just the glamour. She does all the technical stuff, but when she posts when each episode drops, we'll do coming attractions for whoever's going to be on it, and then everything is listed there. We also have a site called benable.com /New Jersey Wedding that has all our referral. It makes it very easy. I have one for my own business too, but it makes it really easy when we're trying to, somebody's like, well, I need a dog sitter. It's like, okay, I have 6 of them. Go to this website and you're going to find all those dogs. It's all clickable. Their websites are right on there. So with ours, all the people that have been on as guests get a link on that Benable. And it's like, oh, I listened to this podcast and there was like a dog sitter. I don't know what their name was. And it's like, you can go to benable.com to our site for New Jersey Wedding Podcast, and all those people are on there. It's a really great tool.
Marcy, we need to do that.
I actually have that.
You have it?
Well.
Oh, we need to be doing that for the show. Oh my God.
I haven't even thought of that, but that's a great idea.
Oh my God.
We do have that.
Yeah. I mean, so many times, like I listen to something and it's like, I want to write it down, but I'm driving or something. Like all when they go, all you need to remember is benable.com, New Jersey Wedding Podcast. It's very easy.
We're totally stealing that.
I'll create one. I will totally steal that.
We are totally stealing that. So just giving you a heads up.
Great idea.
That's great. That's great.
Oh my God, Andrea and Celia, you guys have been amazing. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having us. It's been great, and we sure do enjoy your podcast. I listen often. It's great. It's a lot of fun,
and I love listening to y'all. You do play off of each other really well. I mean, it's really funny. It's just like you two have. I don't want to say opposite personalities, but you can tell who's the ABCD person and who's more of the happy joy. Oh my God, you guys have been amazing. And again, guys, if you're listening to us, just go to New Jersey weddingpodcast.com or do a Google search. You'll find them, I promise you, and you'll have a really, really good time listening to them. All right, excellent. Well, we're going to be back next Tuesday at 2:00, but for now we're going to say goodbye.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.